Hey everybody, welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and today we're talking about Tristan. Tristan is the newest character just about to come into the game. It's going to look weird when I do this, but let's take a look. We have this boy here for basically today. So Tristan might even be live when I do this. So I actually already recorded this video, but you're not going to see that version because I was on 3 different sites trying to get this and that and trying to translate stuff and make it all look good, or make it all, try to make sense of it. Then after I recorded that video for like 40 minutes and then was going to edit it down, someone sent me this link and I was like, wait a second. I was wrong about several assumptions based off mistranslations. This shit actually is legible. So we're doing the video again here. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Tristan is a hottie with a body. She is basically a melee AoE as a synopsis. She's like a melee AoE physical magical damage dealer. She uses her physical stat to deal mostly magical damage in lots of area of effects, lots of attacking multiple times in a turn, not through necessarily act again, but mostly through instant speed skills. She has a lot to her kit. I mean, honestly, you've heard me go on rants about how complex characters are getting already this early into the game. Sometimes it takes years for characters to get this complex, but whatever. Let's just have fun. All right, Crimson Fury. After cast, so this is her trait. So this is probably the most powerful thing about her entire kit, but let's just get it here first. After casting Crimson Fury, which is a skill we'll read in a second, you get unlimited resolve, lasting until the start of the next turn. So this is, you can't be defeated. You can't go below HP, 1 HP. But you also get Berserk State, which basically Crimson Fury. Okay, let's just read it. All right, let's read Crimson Fury first so we can parse this. After you cast Crimson Fury is a skill. You sacrifice 90% of your HP, and you deal 50% damage to all enemies within 2 tiles of you. Then you enter the Berserk State. And you get act again. So you use this, you get act again. You go down to 10% HP. And all your skills are reset. Your energy is fully recovered. And this can only be used 1 time per battle. So you could use this. Probably not on the first turn. You can, if it's a shorter fight. If it's a longer fight, you might want to save it. But you're going to go down to being almost dead. Doesn't matter necessarily because you have unlimited resolve, so you're not actually going to be able to die. It also gives you the Berserk State. It also gives you all of your energy and stuff back. Berserk State is a buff that grants toughness, so the fact that you're at 10% life doesn't matter. You're immune to disruption effects. You get increased 25% damage, and it reduces your healing received by 80%. These effects can't be dispelled, so I assume that the unlimited resolve also can't be dispelled, but it's not part of this. Anyway, the Berserk State, oh god, lasts for 2 turns. Before attacking, so this right here, there's a lot here. You get Crimson Fury as a skill, you get Berserk State, you get unlimited resolve. This is 1 out of 6 lines on our trait, okay? Before attacking, if the target has shield, the character's damage is increased by 30%. So if you're attacking something, they got a shield, just add 30% damage to it. Dispels 6 shields from the target. Now, this is something I still don't understand what it means. Does it mean 6 instances of shields being cast? Does it mean, because if they have 100% of their life as shield, 6 shield might as well be 0 in terms of, it's not going to be 6 points. It's not going to be 1,000 minus 6 points. If it means 6 instances of shields, like, that means even at 1, this would be good, because if you have a 25% and you dispel, that would be insane. So it could dispel it'll either dispels almost no shields, it dispels nearly all of their shields, or it's like 6% of their shields. I don't quite understand this. If it really basically is removing all their shields, it's fucking absurd. When dealing AoE damage, physical damage dealt is converted into magical damage, and at the start of the battle, you automatically gain Crimson Fury. When used, you enter the Berserk State, which can only be used 1 time per battle. That's a little bit of a redundant part. So you get Crimson Fury. When you use Crimson Fury, you go into Berserk State. You get unlimited resolve. Whenever you attack something with a shield, you get 30% more damage. You dispel the shield. You also have your AoE damage converted into magical damage. This is all just her trait. She has more stuff coming. So this is I would say this is like a 5 out of 5 trait. Very strong. It does a lot. If it only gave you the Crimson Fury and the unlimited resolve, that would still make her, like with the Berserk state, that would make her a very strong damage dealer. The fact that she could burst through shields is insanely good. The fact that she ends up doing magic damage, I think, is also really good because it's going to work good with characters like Edda, who could just shred magic defense. If you do like the Edda thing and then you do the Warhorn, suddenly they got no magic defense and your damage is just going through the roof on already a character with high damage. Slash, no one talks about that. 185 speed. This is reasonably fast, but not like super fast. She is a destroyer, so her base stats are going to be a little bit higher, is my understanding. Maybe I would notice it more, but like my destroyers don't feel like they're way stronger than my watchers, even though that is kind of supposed to be, the destroyers have no inherent advantage other than stats, I suppose. Explosive Luxite Dust. Honestly, innate skill, very cool. I like it a lot. Physical damage, which is a kind of a misnomer. Deals 85% damage to all enemies within 2 tiles of the target, and it's a range of 1 to 3. They have to be on the exact same height as you. So if you target something, oh no, it's up and down 3. No, I don't. This is kind of the wording of this is a little weird, but it looks like it's a 1 to 3 range, and then everything within 2 tiles of that will also get hit as long as they're on the same height range, and you inflict a level 2 debuff on them lasting for 2 turns. Not an absolutely broken ability, but totally reasonable as just a good hit. It's hits a little bit weak, but it's about the AoE damage, and yes, it's physical, but it's AoE, so it's converted to magical. And so you're gonna be actually wanting to lower their magic defense instead of your physical, even though this says physical. I think it just means that it scales off your physical stat, and then that'll interact with the trait with the way that makes it go to magical. 2 pretty good abilities here. Out of these 2, I'm going to recommend Furious Pursuit. Physical damage, single target attack, deals 70% damage. After attacking, performs Pursuit, dealing 70% damage and knocking them back 2 tiles. Knockback Pursuit is fine. It costs 3 energy. It does 140% damage over 2 hits, and it knocks them back 2 tiles. I personally prefer Furious Pursuit. It just does 180% damage, which is a lot of damage, and it costs you HP, but it only takes 2 energy. So this is like a single target. You just hit them really hard. This is probably Guzman's best attack, which is kind of sad to see it on other characters, but it is just like a normal attack. It's not special. Guzman definitely needs a little bit of help with his moves and his damage output. But if I'm being honest, you're probably not going to end up using either of these. So I would probably just go with the HP percent over the defense percent, but also I do like Furious Pursuit more. When we get to rank 3, that's when we're going to get to her 2 pretty good abilities, one of which I like quite a bit more, but it kind of, let's talk about it. So Fervent Lunge. It's an instant ability. You charge to a location with a 1 tile radius, so it's very close. You basically just go, whoo, it is a lunge, right? You go 1 square. But you gain damage up 2. And you can only, it has no energy cost, but you can only do it every 3 turns. For 1 turn after use, the skill switches to Fervent Headbutt. So Fervent Headbutt is another instant skill. You select 1 enemy within a cross-shaped range around the character. You charge to them, deal 70% damage, knock them back 2 tiles. And after attacking the skill, switches back to the lunge, but the cooldown will be for 3 turns. So you're gonna like dodge, get your damage up, and then charge and punch them. And do bonus damage because of your damage up here. But it is going to have a 3-turn cooldown, but these are also both instant skills. So you get to do this whenever it's up, right? You get to dodge, boom, punch, and then you can just do a normal punch attack after that. You could do freaking Ferocious Pursuit, do another 180% damage. This does seem like this is not going to be an AoE hit. This is going to be a physical damage hit is what it seems like. It doesn't seem like it hits any AoE. Blazing Blood is the other one. I think it reads cooler than it might be. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll have to see how it actually plays out. When healthy, adds 15% of this character's magic attack to physical attack. Okay, that's like not very good, but it's whatever. When injured, add 25% of your magic attack to your physical attack. Okay. When possessing Berserk state, the effect is doubled. That means if you're injured and berserking, you get, if you're berserking and injured, you get 50% of your magic attack to your physical attack. This is the most absurd damage buff. Like, this is so many stats. That is a lot of stats, because you're just passively going to have pretty high magic attack anyway. Like, if you look at their baseline, like, they still have, I mean, it's not as high, but that means if you have gear, you have percent-based attack damage, percent-based magic damage, flat attack damage, flat magic damage. you're still getting value out of those stats. And so you can actually build even more damage. The issue is this doesn't have an effect when you're dying. You have to be healthy or injured. When you activate your Crimson Fury, you lose 90% of your current HP. So you go from wherever you're at to dying. You can't, the highest your HP could be after this is 10%. And remember, you also get an 80% reduced healing buff. So I feel like it's actually hard to get this with the Berserk state. I feel like it might be hard to have this active at all. When you're healthy, it means you're at max HP. You just have the passive, right? That's actually pretty good. But getting that injured buff, and especially getting the doubled injured buff, seems like it's going to be really difficult to get. So I think this is mostly going to be a 15% magic to physical attack. Is that good? That's like really not, that's worse than what a gust gets. But it is passive and it's all the time. But to be fair, Augustus pretty much always has his thing going with his rage. So I'm not sure that this is actually as good as it reads. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there will be a percent-based healing that'll easily knock you up there. If you're taking 80% less, but you would be healing for 100% of your life, you're still healing for 20% of your life. And if you were at 10%, that brings you up to a 30% threshold. So maybe there's ways to get around this. Maybe there's other ways to heal that are going to be different. Maybe just like having Coco around, you know, that could do an instant heal than a normal heal. Maybe there might be ways to get through this Berserk state healing, but you're going to have to make that work if you want Blazing Blood to be insane. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would keep it on my bar just for the flat 15% on average. But the 25% is also reasonable, because if you have like a lifesteal on your character or something, you could just heal up a little bit more. Street style. This is the one I got the most wrong with the translations. It was just so fucking hard to understand. This one and the controlled demolition. The reaction, pretty good reaction actually. Melee damage taken is reduced by 20%. That's great. When being preempted, striked, or struck back at all. So when you go up to punch someone, if you go up to punch someone and they preempt, this will activate. Or if you punch someone and they're going to strike you back, this will also activate. So if you go punch someone in the face and they're doing a strike back attack, like Alexi or whatever, you block that attack. Also, you're taking 20% reduced melee. You're taking 20% reduced melee damage already. Then you block on top of that, which I believe is another 50%. It says here. Then you punch them in the face for another 70% damage. It can only be triggered one time per round, but this is a reaction that is offensive, an offensive reaction, huh? Because you're reacting to them attacking you, doing a strike back, while still having a flat 20% damage reduction. So very cool effects, and I would love to have this effect on other characters. So I love this reaction. This is one of the most fun reactions. You're hoping for people to strike your back. You're like, hit me, hit me, hit me. You punch them like, hit me, hit me. And they go like, ah, and you go like, swat it out and punch him again while you're hitting yourself. One Punch Man ability here. This is probably her bread and her butter. This ability is probably going to be her strongest ability, used all the time. Does have a 2-turn cooldown, so you're not going to be able to use it literally all the time, but you're probably going to use it every time it's up. Physical damage. Single target attack, so you target one thing, and you deal 20% damage to that target. Very little damage. What's that? That attack sucks. You push them back one tile. Then you deal 110% fire AoE damage to enemies within 2 tiles of the target. So dealing 20% is whatever, that's weak. And then you deal 110% AoE. I fucking love that, bro. If you're not in the Berserk state, you also teleport to the side of the closest ally within 4 tiles. So you get to, hit them, knock them back, and they're like, what? They explode. Big AoE, and then you can teleport away. If you're berserking, you just do a lot more damage because your stats are high. You don't teleport back, and you're probably unkillable because of your unending resolve on the turn you're doing this anyway. Great ability, fantastic ability. It's not like, this is not a character that so far from what I read is like, wow, she really destroys one character really well. This is like, she just does a lot of AoE damage, like the best, most consistent, highest AoE damage that I've seen. And this attack is very good at killing a bunch of small fries. Within 2 tiles is a pretty fucking far range, especially because you're going to knock them back first, so they get a little bit deeper into the enemy line. And it does fire, so it'll set things on fire if it Controlled demolition is an instant and inflicts controlled demolition on the target. This is the one that I could not get. I could not parse what the hell this was supposed to do with translations. Okay, you mark the target, and they get, when hit by the caster with any non-gear based skill, so no throwing daggers, it will trigger an explosion at the start of the caster's next turn, or when the target is defeated. The explosion deals 20% of HP as piercing damage to the target and all enemies within 2 tiles, and then inflicts vulnerable 2, lasting for 2 turns. So the way I read this is that you're going to hit them. You're going to use the controlled demolition. You're going to hit them, and then you're going to punch them with 1-punch burial, burial. And then this will proc this, but it's not going to actually go off. But it says after you get hit with that, it will trigger at the start of the caster's next turn. So you have to wait a full turn cycle for your turn to come back up again. It might be a mistranslation. It might mean when theirs turn comes up. That sounds more reasonable. But if you have to wait a full turn cycle until your turn comes back up again, that's a little bit annoying. It also triggers when they die, though. So this is what I'm thinking, is if you use this and then maybe you use your Crimson Fury, that will give you act again. Maybe that counts as your turn coming up again, and then that will instantly trigger. And the dream is, I think you get this to trigger, and then you kill them with it or with something else, and then it triggers an additional time. So you get 2 triggers back to back, because it says it lasts for 2 turns. So I assume that it doesn't just trigger once and then stop. I assume it's stuck there for 2 turns, and so that they will explode and then die and explode again. Maybe this is still an ability that's hard for me to exactly parse what it does until I see it in action, I think, and feel what it does. Overall, I'm not super impressed with this skill. Piercing damage is the lowest form of flattery. A lot of things just resist piercing damage. But for everything that doesn't, there's controlled demolition. So there we go. I'm probably not going to be using it, personally. I'm probably going to be using... Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Sealant attack, fatal attack. I like sealant attack more. Being able to occasionally turn off passive skills on injured targets before attacking is probably better than making your basic attack deal a little bit more damage. You probably don't want this damage. I do like the HP more than the defense, but 1 out of 1,000 times, and I would rather have sealant attack. Whenever I actually do a normal attack, I want it to be sealant attack, not fatal attack, I think. That's just me. So, Destructive Storm, pretty bad. I don't think this ability is very good. 50% AoE damage to all enemies within 4 tiles. 4 tiles is massive, but I just don't think this is what... I think she has enough AoE that you don't need this. 2 random level 2 attribute debuffs is fine, but again, it is a big area of effect, and it does have some debuffs, but the damage I think is just too low for the cost and the cooldown. I don't ever want to put this on my bar, I don't think. But I don't hate the ability. Family. This is a super interesting ability. This is one that I almost want to put in a clip here of me trying to read this when it was translated from the original into Google Translate. But basically, when you're healthy, you provide assisting cover to your allies within 2 tiles. But when you're dying, other allies within 2 tiles of you will provide assisting cover. After either of the effects are triggered, all other allies within 3 tiles of the character gain attack 2 and damage reduction 2 for 2 turns. Can be activated up to 1 time per round. I personally don't like this ability on her. Couple reasons. One, she's not like a super tanky character necessarily. I don't want her covering people. I think it's likely to get her killed. This says this triggers on all other characters. After either effect is triggered, all other allies within 3 tiles gain attack and damage reduction 2. It doesn't sound like it affects her. Maybe if it's a second thing, but also when dying, other allies defend her. The issue is your Crimson Fury puts you into the dying state, and you have unlimited resolve while this is going. You actively don't want people to block for you when you have this going. You want to get absorbed for every attack. So it feels like a little bit of a non-bow. I'm not actually super impressed with it. I'll probably take it. And then I'm sure there are situations where it's good, because this is an ability that I think might be better than I'm giving it credit for. But when I'm thinking about how the character is going to play in a map, I don't think family is going to be what I want. But maybe it is really good after you use your Crimson Fury, and then later, like your Crimson Fury is wearing off, and you don't just instantly die. You'll have someone protect you, but also you could just have someone like Coco around that will protect her no matter what, right? I think. So, what do I think about the character? I think this character seems. I think their attacks are surprisingly not bustedly powerful. I think most of her busted powerness comes from her Crimson Fury trait. However, you don't want to, discount the fervent lunge into a fervent headbutt. The huge amount of stats from Blazing Blood and the one punch burial are all going to be very powerful abilities, and street styles is pretty good too. So how do I envision a turn with her going? You're pretty much going to want to do AoE because it converts it into magic damage. But basically I'm thinking you're going to fervent lunge, get your damage up, fervent headbutt, boink, hit him in the head. Then you are going to Crimson Fury, which sacrifices your HP. You deal damage to all enemies around you. Then you get the Berserk state. So now you're going to be doing more damage, and you have Ultimate Resolve. But also, it will reset your cooldowns. So you'll go from this being a 3-turn cooldown to being 0 cooldown. So then you'll be able to Fervent Lunge again, do another headbutt, boom, boom. So you're going to dodge, headbutt, freak, Berserk mode, dodge, headbutt. Then you're probably going to end with a one-punch burial. I like saying burial, but it's burial. It's probably burial, but in America, where I'm from, we say burial. And then I would basically say if you're doing AoE, you would end with a one-punch, and otherwise you would use a Ferocious Pursuit, I would think. You're probably only going to have spots for one of these on the bar if you're using Blazing Blood, Fervent Lunge, and this. So that's probably going to be what I do, is I'm going to end with the one punch. And you're going to have enough, right? This is only 3 energy. She has a lot of energy. You could even get rid of Blazing Blood if you don't think if you're going to be in the dying state and you're not going to be able to actually have an effect on that. You could do the controlled demolition for 2 energy because it's an instant, and then do the one punch burial as well. That's pretty much what I'm thinking will go. So she'll get 1, 2 actions, 3 actions. So how much damage is that? This is a 70%. Plus a 50%, plus another 70%, so that's 190%, plus 190, 200, 300, 320% damage, roughly. That's 320% damage with all the buffs that she is going to be getting as well. And then if you do this, is another 20% piercing, and if it can inflict vulnerable too, that could be pretty good as well. But that's kind of how I'm seeing how she'll play out. She seems like she's going to be an S-tier damage dealer, especially for AoE. It seems like Edda will be really good with her. Shredding magic defense is going to be extra good because she already has really high stats, and being able to convert physical into magical, I personally think is really good because Edda is just a great support. I'd probably run Gloria and Edda on this team because I'm just a huge fan. And she is a Union member, so being part of the Union gives Gloria gets the buff, gets the flag buff, and then Edda can shred the defense as like your debuffer slash second buffer because she has the damage buff. Then I'd probably just run like a Gust as well, honestly. And I usually end up running Coco, but maybe I'd run a Union healer or something like that instead, like Samantha. I think Samantha PayPal and Nana. And Nana, I think, is Union. Or is she Iria? I forget their factions at this point. I'm going to be honest with you. Wait, I got it right here. Look at this. Guys, we're geniuses. All we have to do is sort by Union. All right, well, I'd probably just run someone else then. Yeah, I'd run Simona. Simona is my favorite character in the game, but I don't know if she's better. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking here. We'll actually do more of a build guide if I manage to pull her. We'll see. But that's all for now. Thank you very much. Hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think about this character. You're going to pull on this character. What am I wrong about? Was there anything I said that was misinformed? Anything that you think I'm just completely off on? And in fact, actually, this one, I think this is the height range is down 8 tiles and up 8 tiles. So I think I was wrong when I said that. This means this is actually going to hit everything, bro. Very, in fact, yeah, up and down 8 is super rare from what I see. Anyway, that's all. Much love for Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye.